His name was David Patterson. He was born on March 12, 1981. He had blonde hair, a humor like the Three Stooges, and childhood like baptism. By the time he was 12 years old, he'd not even heard the word homosexual yet, but he knew the word love. And by the time he was 12, he knew that everyone had crushes on one another, and everyone wanted to love one another, and he just wanted to love another boy. But the day his pastor found out, he just walked out of the room and closed the door behind him, and a week later, he stood David at the pulpit and screamed that he was an agent of the devil. He was an agent of the devil. He was 12 years old. But from that day on, his name was replaced with faggot. And for the next few years, the boys from his church took turns pissing and spitting on him. His parents didn't even stop them. But on his 15th birthday, he thought that everything had changed. His parents had promised him a birthday party, and he could barely contain his excitement before he reached home and saw the men that had to take him kicking and screaming to the camps. His parents just signed the papers and watched. They thought that he was broken, or if not, they thought that they could break him. And David, I wish you did not have to hear the music of another armed band piping the pink triangle through constant sermons over the speakers of your windowless room. And I wish that box they called a room opened more than 3 times a week. They tried to make you weak by subjecting you to torture. And you thought you would die there, as if you were not already dead, ghosts rattling the bars of your rib cage, attempting to break free. But death was a friendly visitor. At least once a week, another camper went missing, and at least once a week, he was forgotten. And David, how much did it cost you when you were beaten by exorcists until you vomited blood like the Red Sea across church floors? And how much did it holocaust you when they beat you until 3 ribs broke? At least by then, you could leave. But your parents didn't want you home because your parents didn't want you home. Homosexuals rarely have a place in this world anyway. Sodomy laws are still in effect in about 70 countries around the world, forcing gay men to live in seclusion or celibacy. And they still call them sodomy laws, as if it's all about sex and not about love. But David, when you were 25 years old, you played a love song on Tucker Russell's forehead and showed him what God was. You had kept your faith through the pain, and he hid within his until he saw Jesus in your eyes the first day you met. You talked in that store until the shop closed like pages of a life, and Tucker had once been told that gays could not get married because they could not even love. But on July 26th, 2006, you got down on one knee and made Tucker cry so hard you thought that forests would grow at your feet, and no more than 2 months later, David was attacked. He did not even have time to Bible cover his face before the bat came down. He did not believe in fighting back. He believed in loving back. He believed in living back. So remember back, David, to when you were 12 years old and did not even know what homosexual meant. That was bliss compared to this. You struggled until you died exactly 2 weeks later in a hospital bed. Tucker held you in his arms and prayed until your last breath escaped your lips like gunshot, and we all still hear the gunshot every time another Baptist preacher in the Deep South screams to burn fags, not flags, and when Granddaddy Phelps beats us with a Bible belt once again, and we all still hear the gunshot every time another sexist pig beats up another gay man in the street and beats off to another lesbian in porn, and we all still hear the gunshot. Fortunately, your attackers will spend the rest of their lives behind bars. But you were fortunate that the law was even on your side. Some people could not even sue. Suicide still haunts the minds of at least 38% of GLBT youth. So carved straight into your wrist like Bible verses. Like the only way you could be free once again is you've cut veins like marionette strings and free fall into love, and Tucker still misses you. He can barely keep from crying every time we speak your name, and he's a pastor now of 2 different churches, and everyone loves you. Everyone loves him. He says, I remind him of you sometimes, and hints of Christ, and I don't know why. But David, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to be another beaten heart, another maimed lover, blood scattered across the concrete like shrapnel, bones broken like shrapnel, but somewhere over the rainbow, there's a 12-year-old boy. He has blonde hair, a humor like the Three Stooges, and does not yet know what homosexual means. But he knows the word love.